Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I want to talk about a curse that I feel has been placed on me, and I want you guys to pray for its removal by leaving a dislike on this video. Perhaps the best way to introduce this curse is to talk about my most famous example of it, and it's been 16 years since I ran into this situation. I still feel bitter about it. Every time I'm reminded about the situation, I still feel bitter. What had happened was the 2008 financial crisis had just happened, and the markets had tanked, and gold and silver had corrected a lot too. And I was looking to buy some gold and silver. I had about $1,500 if I remember correctly, and I was going to go online to shop for gold and silver coins. One thing I was in particular I wanted to look for was in the 1980s, Japan had made 100,000 yen commemorative gold coins to commemorate one of the emperors, and it was made of, I think, 20 grams of pure gold, and it had a face value of 100,000 yen. I'll let you think about why that would be a very safe bet. The reason I liked it was because at the time, 100,000 yen was about 1,000 US dollars. The gold in there was also around the same price. And so the coin felt like a very safe bet, right? Either the yen was going to do well or gold was going to do well, right? It felt like a no lose. It could benefit from either inflation or deflation, right? And so I went on to eBay and a few other sites. I think we had a AppMax at the time, American Precious Metals Exchange. I think we might have had a few other, but those are not 100,000 yen gold coins are not a common thing to see, right? They're not eagles, they're not Morgan dollars, and so not surprisingly, I didn't see any. I checked for a couple of days, and then I remembered that this blip might not last forever, right? Gold had just crashed from $1,000 to 700, if I remember my history correctly. Silver had corrected from $22 to $8 an ounce, and I felt like this might not last forever. I better buy something else, even if it's not the 100,000 yen gold coin. So I went back to AppMax or eBay or wherever, and I bought a bunch of silver coins. I remember buying a lot of Walking Liberty half dollars. The reason I like the Walking Liberty half dollars is that you got to remember when I was a kid, silver was like $4 an ounce, and those walkers used to go for quite a bit of a premium, right? They were going for $3, $4 a coin, even though they might only have a buck 50 worth of silver at that point in time. Well, fast forward 7 years later, now that silver was $8, $9 an ounce. I forget where it landed during that correction. The Walking Liberty half dollars were barely going over the silver spot price. So again, it seemed like a safe bet, right? Either silver was going to do well or the numismatic market was going to do well, right? Either one could take that coin up, right? And so I bought a bunch of those. I bought a bunch of at the other extreme, I bought a bunch of war nickels, 1942 to 1945. The reason being that war nickels often go for a discount below the silver spot price. And I remember thinking, and I read about it, the reason they go for a discount is because it costs money, the process for refining silver out of the other metals in the war nickel. I believe war nickels have manganese in them, and it's very difficult to refine. Well, I remember thinking if we're right about silver, and silver's going to go to $1,000 an ounce anyway, the cost of refining that silver is probably not going to go up nearly as much, right? I'd rather have more silver in that kind of scenario, right? And what if I'm wrong? What if silver goes back to $3 an ounce? Well, I'm probably not going to be too unhappy either because I'll have more coins to trade with, right? And so I remember thinking that's like a no lose situation too. I kind of thought through it, right? The only way I could lose with war nickels is if silver kind of just stays at this moderate level like it has been for the last 12 years, or if it does that forever, then yeah, I guess that might not do as well as some of the other coins, right? But in those extreme, but if silver stays at $20 an ounce indefinitely, right? Then I'm not going to be too upset either. That means that our economy must be doing well. I probably have a high paying job at that moment in time. I'm probably doing well in my other investments. The US is probably at peace, right? None of the things that I want to hedge for are going to cause the premiums on war nickels to be bad, right? So that's what I was thinking, right? And so I bought a lot of war nickels. I bought a lot of Walking Liberty half dollars, if I remember correctly. And then after a whole week of just going on that shopping spree for that bargain silver, finally that 100,000 yen coin shows up on eBay. By this point, I had no money to bid on it. And I live with this curse of bad timing, right? And so that was not an unusual circumstance, by the way. Part of the reason I've been resisting the temptation to go on a vacation. So I live in Phoenix, Arizona. I would so much love to visit my grandparents in Taipei. I have a few friends in Poland. I would so much love to do that. I know the moment I board that plane is when my dream job is going to open up here in Phoenix. I've been there before. There's also a girl that I like here in the Phoenix area, but she has been on these kind of short-term relationships. I can't wait until she's between the next one. I know the moment I board that plane to Taiwan, she's going to break up, and that's my life in a nutshell. I always do that. Every time I've applied for my dream job, somebody has taken it the day before. Every time, I often ask the girl out on a date at just the wrong time. She just had a death in the family, not in the mood to listen to that. And so that's the life that I live with. Kind of funny how I do art with bismuth crystals. Timing is everything with that. I You got to get the timing of the pulling out the crystal right. If you do it too early, it's you get a very unimpressive crystal. Too late, and it sticks to the bottom of the pan. I have a funny story about this actually. I was making these geodes, and I called them dirty bombs for Putin because one of the uses of bismuth is to neutron activate it to make polonium 210, which Russia really loves as one of their weapons of choice. And I also love Mary Curie. She discovered polonium 210 over 100 years ago now. And one day I was getting ready to pour one of those geodes. I had been up 3 nights in a row. I was totally bombed out from sleep deprivation. And I was just about to pick up, it comes in this mold, the hemisphere mold. I was just about to pick up the mold and pour out the liquid bismuth into a pan to see what kind of geode I had. And as I do that, I saw the spirit of Mary Curie, and she held my hand. She said, "Not yet." And then moments later, she said, "Now." And then I poured it in, and I got the best crystal I ever got. And but I need a Mary Curie in my life for other decisions, not just making a bismuth crystal, right? And I often get the timing wrong, whether it be for a job, for an investment, for pouring bismuth crystals, or for my love life. I often get it wrong. I quit jobs right before things would have gone right. I start jobs when I shouldn't. You get the idea, right? Even my bismuth art career kind of feels like that at times, right? I mean, I did pick a right time in history because we're very blessed with how cheap bismuth is right now, right? Historically, bismuth was almost as expensive as silver. We're very blessed with that right now, but I think the economic conditions could be better, right? Obviously, if the economic conditions would be better, the price of bismuth might not be so attractive anymore. So that's a mixed bag, right? So please pray for that I get the timing right and everything. Unfortunately, that is not my strong suit. There are a couple things I want to do. I definitely want to take that trip to Taiwan, but I know I'm going to miss a ton of stuff while I'm gone. There's a girl that I want to ask out, and then some career issues. The timing is very important there, and unfortunately, it's not my strong suit. So please pray for me by leaving a dislike on this video. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.